morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Huddle Hub Podcast. My name is Metal Mike, and yes, it has been 2 weeks since we've been live here on the Huddle Hub Podcast, but we are back, we are here, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We had some contract extensions happen, some contract signings, the schedule release came out, so much to talk about, and we're going to get into it today. We're going to be here for at least 60 minutes, maybe more. It depends on how long it takes us to get through all this stuff. Al, thank you for joining me this morning here over on the Huddle Hub Podcast. Appreciate you being here. Guys, make sure to head over to TikTok, X, and YouTube as well, and follow us over on at the Huddle Hub Pod. All right? That's where you can find us on X, TikTok, and YouTube at the Huddle Hub Pod. Follow us on all of our social medias. Trying to get the TikTok up to 1K followers. Now, it's going to be a journey. I know that because we're building here day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute, second by second. But we'll get there. It will happen. And once we do, then we will have yet another source to go live on, which is the goal. We're live right now here on Twitch, on the Huddle Hub Podcast Twitch. We are live on the Off the Top Media YouTube channel. We will be live on the Huddle Hub Podcast YouTube channel in 2026. But we are also looking to go live on TikTok as well. So help us get to that 1K. Make sure you're sharing it with your friends, your family, and anybody you know. Just tell them to hit the follow button. That's it. That's all we need. But definitely appreciate it, though. Head over to X, YouTube, and TikTok at the Huddle Hub Pod and hit that follow button. Hit the follow button here. If you're just coming across us here on the Huddle Hub Podcast on Twitch, hit the follow button. We definitely appreciate it. And all the links to the social medias are in the bio here. So make sure you're hitting that follow button. Guys, we got a lot of stuff to get into. It's been 2 weeks since we've been live here on the Huddle Hub Podcast, and we had the schedule release happen. We had some contract extensions happen, players signing new contracts, rookies making their deals. And we also had the spring owners meetings that happened this past week, and a lot of stuff was decided on. So we got a lot of stuff to get into. A lot. Now, the reason why we've been gone the past 2 weeks is because I've been feeling a little under the weather. I've had some stuff going on. So I had to take care of. And like I said last night, on the table spot with Cam, I'm at 70% right now. I feel good enough to be here. I'm not at 100%. I'm at 70, but that's good enough to be back to entertain you guys. Even if I was at 60, it's good enough to be back. And if you're wondering, Mike, what's the table spot? Well, the table spot is my show that's live every Monday night over on Rivet City Radio's Twitch. And here on the Off the Top Media YouTube channel, we talk about Monday Night Raw after Monday Night Raw goes off the air. We also do the live Raw watch along over on the Rivet City Radio Twitch channel that starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Monday night. So join us. Make sure you're following Rivet City Radio and Off the Top Media on their Twitch and YouTube channels as well, if you don't mind, guys. So let's get into it, guys. We got to a lot of things to talk about. And the first thing we're going to get into is all the news that's happening throughout the world of football. The first thing we need to cover is the unfortunate, sad news of the passing of the owner of the Indianapolis Colts, Jim Irsay. It was announced Wednesday evening that Jim Irsay passed away Wednesday afternoon at the age of 65. When I first found out about this news, you know, you don't even need to be a fan of the Colts to know about Jim Irsay. If you are a fan of football, if you are a resident of the Indianapolis area or even the state of Indiana, you know who Jim Irsay is. And there are even people that aren't football fans that know who Jim Irsay is. So when you hear that news and you know who he is, it's sad. Number one, 65 years old is a very young age. I miss you too, Al. 65 years old is a very young age. And it was sudden to hear. But when you look at this, what this man has accomplished in his, I don't know if you can say short life. I mean, 65 is like in the middle of the pack. You know, they always say 50 is halfway over the hill. But what he has accomplished in his life and the stories that you hear throughout the week from ex-players and people that have worked with him through his life, and hearing about the human being that he is, or the human being that he was, it makes you think, man, I wish I could have met him for at least 1 second. And his career path, it's not like the Colts organization. I mean, the Colts organization was kind of given to him through family, but it's not like it was just given to him. Hearing the stories on how he earned getting ownership of the Indianapolis Colts, it's like this man put the work in. He worked in the equipment staff room and was a GM and all that stuff. So he worked his way up. It's not like the team was handed to him. His dad was the owner of the Colts from 1923 to 1997. And he acquired them when they were in Baltimore. So Robert Irsay, his dad, okay, and I'm sorry here, I'm reading this wrong. His dad was born in 23, passed away in 97. He acquired the Baltimore franchise in 1972 for $12 million and then moved them to Indianapolis in 1984. And Jim Irsay was the general manager from 84 to 96. So he worked his way up. He worked his way up. Now, I can go on and on about what he did in his life, but this would take a whole show. And we got a lot of stuff to cover. So maybe I'll put a special together. Maybe what I'll do is I'll put something together to honor the life of Jim Irsay. I'll sit down after the show today and I'll look into what I can do as far as putting a recorded content together for you guys and post it on the YouTube channel, talking about the life of Jim Irsay. Because if you go read about this man's life, yeah. Now, are there some stuff in there that you know, you would probably sit there and say, you know, oh, Mike, you know, he did this and he did that. Everybody has their demons. But this man was more positive than he was negative. So Jim Irsay, rest in peace. It was sad to hear of his passing. And maybe I will put a special together for the YouTube channel. I'm going to sit down after this show today and think about what I can do to honor the life of Jim Irsay. Maybe I could try and contact an ex-player of the Colts, somebody that played for him. Maybe I can try and get an interview with somebody. I don't know. I'll work on something, though. But sad news hearing of the passing of Jim Irsay at the age of 65. So we got some contract extensions that happened in the past couple weeks, starting off with quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers, Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant from the 2022 NFL Draft. He signed a 5-year, $265 million deal with the 49ers, and it is a guaranteed contract, which means he also has a no-trade clause in the contract, so he is a 49er no matter what for the next 5 years through 2031. Now, a lot of people are questioning this move because Brock Purdy, you know, number one, a lot of people like to say Brock Purdy isn't a legit quarterback. Okay, this man took his team to a Super Bowl. They lost, But he took the team to a Super Bowl in his second season. After being drafted last in the NFL draft the year before. Took his team to a conference championship in his rookie year. Okay? So, and then the statistics that he has built since then. But people want to compare him to the 49er quarterback effect with Colin Kaepernick and, Steve Young, the contracts with Jimmy Garoppolo, Alex Smith. I get it. There's a wave that happens. And is it coincidental? Maybe. Maybe it's coincidental that the 49ers have done this with past quarterbacks where they give guaranteed contracts and they don't pan out. We are also in the day and age to where a quarterback can be with a team and sign a 5-year contract, but then get traded in year 2. Yes, Brock Purdy has a no trade clause in his contract. But there is also situations to where contracts get restructured. So could his contract get restructured? Yeah, it could. And then you can end up putting a trade clause in there to where he can get traded. So never say never. But as of right now, Brock Purdy is the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers through the year 2031. And you know what? The kid deserves it after what he's done these first couple years. And I am interested to see what the 49ers do in 2025 because of all the moves that they made. Some people saying questionable, and some people are saying they needed to do what they did. Especially with trading Deebo Samuels to the Washington Commanders. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Cam Ward, quarterback of the Tennessee Titans, the number 1 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, has signed his rookie contract. Details of the contract is yet to be out. And if they are out now, then I didn't see it. But as I was doing this research on Thursday, the contract details haven't been out yet. So I'm going to see if I can find the details on the contract because I didn't see it. So let's see here. Okay, so yeah, 4-year deal, $48.75 million deal with the Tennessee Titans. It includes a $32.1 million signing bonus and a 5th-year team option, which means that he's $48.75 million fully guaranteed deal plus $32.1 million signing bonus on top of it. This is a lot of money. This is almost $80 million. And then the 5th-year team option, which means when year 5 comes up, they're going to have the option to sign him. So Cam Ward, if he goes out and does what a lot of people think he's going to do, he may be a Tennessee Titan for a very long time, and he's going to make a lot of money. So, Joe Thuney, offensive lineman of the Bears, he signed a 2-year, $35 million extension with the Bears. Joe Thuney traded from the Chiefs during free agency and now signed a 2-year extension with the Bears. This was smart on the Bears' part. Why? Because they just went out and restructured their whole offensive line, rebuilt their whole offensive line. They tore it down. They built it up. They completed it in the draft. And now it's go time. It's time to see if this team made the right moves to protect their franchise quarterback in Caleb Williams. Now, I think they did because the players that they got, man, this is going to be one good offensive line because it looks good on paper. Now it's all about putting it on the field. So I'm excited to see what the Bears do this season. I'm excited to see specifically what that offensive line does. And you just extended arguably one of the best offensive linemen in the league. And I think Joe Thuney is going to be up for the new award that is going to be presented to offensive linemen, because it was agreed upon that there's going to be an offensive lineman award given out this year. It's called the Protector of the Year award. Now, details as far as how they're going to pull these statistics together, maybe they're going to look at it as, the least sacks given up, the least penalties, that were committed. Who knows? But I think Joe Thuney is going to be up for Protector of the Year. I think he's going to be on that list of players to vote for. So watch out. And that's going to be a prestigious award this year, because this is the first time that an offensive lineman is going to win a yearly award. Never in history has an offensive lineman won a solo award. It's always been a team thing. So to have a Protector of the Year award is super cool. Super cool. When this was first talked about 2 months ago, I was for it. And I still am. And I'm excited to see what offensive linemen go up for this award. I think Joe Thuney is going to be one of them. The 49ers spent more money. They extended Fred Warner, the linebacker, 3-year, $63 million extension. So Fred Warner, the linebacker, is going to be a 49er through the year 2029. Smart move on the 49ers to keep their captain, basically, of the linebacking core. Shedeur Sanders, quarterback of the Browns, he signed a 4-year, $4.64 million rookie deal with the Browns. Okay, now you're probably thinking, why so low? Well, because look where he got drafted. The lower you fall in the draft, the less money you make. He got drafted in the 5th round. So he's going to make 5th round money. And sadly enough, that's only about $5 million. Now, if he ends up getting the starting job, could they maybe decide on an extension on what type of money he'll make? Maybe. Maybe a bonus? I don't know. But right now, Shedeur Sanders making $4.64 million for 4 years. Now, when you go and do the math, and I'm going to pull up my calculator here, because I want to do the math on this. So 4.64 divided by 4, that is $1.16 million a year. Now, there's a video out that got leaked after the draft. And I didn't want to bring it up here today. I do have a video for you guys that I'm going to play today. But this video I didn't want to do, because I felt bad for Shedeur Sanders in this video. I did. At the same time, I was like, I see Cam Ward's position on what he's trying to present. I was 50-50. I was split. But Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders end up meeting up, and they have their respective jerseys, and Cam Ward wanted to do a jersey swap. The first ever jersey swap as a rookie. And Shedeur Sanders said no. He specifically said, I need to sign this and try and sell it. I need to make money because I didn't get drafted in the first round like you did. So I'm not going to make money that you're going to make. I can understand where Shedeur Sanders is coming from. He's only making $1.16 million for the 4 years. I get it. But you're telling me that if Shedeur Sanders, if he gets the starting job in Cleveland, because again, that quarterback battle is going to be huge. And we're going to get into the Hard Knocks thing in a minute, because last show I said I want Hard Knocks to go beg Cleveland to be part of the training camp thing. Okay? Now, Cleveland's not part of it. We're going to talk about who's a part of the Hard Knocks in a minute. But I wanted to see that quarterback battle between the quarterbacks out in Cleveland. I did. Kenny Pickett, Shedeur Sanders, Joe Flacco, and Gabriel. That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see that quarterback battle live. But instead, they pick a different team. Dillon Gabriel, Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, Shedeur Sanders. Those 4 quarterbacks in a battle. But if Shedeur Sanders becomes the starter out in Cleveland and he does well, hey, he can end up getting some contracts from companies like, Nike or something. Who knows? Partnerships. So he's got to probably make money somewhere. Matthew Golden, the wide receiver that got drafted by the Packers. He signed his deal, 4 years, worth $17.57 million. When I looked at this contract and the price of this contract, I thought Cam Ward's making the money that he's going to make, because I didn't know the contract of Cam Ward's at the time, but I was like, he's going to make money. And then I looked at the other rookies that got their contracts. Okay? And I was like, man, some of these rookies that got drafted in the first round are making money. And then I look at Matthew Golden. High-profile wide receiver. And he gets 4 years worth a little over $17.5 million. That surprised me a lot. Why is this kid not making at least 20? Why? You have wide receivers that are making over $80 million, $100 million now. He is a rookie wide receiver that got drafted in the first round. High profile. He's going to do wonders for that Packers offense. And you're only giving him $17.5 million for 4 seasons. So when you break that down, that's a little under $4.5 million a year. 4.395 to be exact. So you kind of question it. You do. But hey, Packers made their decision. That's what they're paying the man. So I'm just here to give my thoughts. That's that. Derrick Henry, we heard, the running back of the Ravens, he signed a 2-year, $30 million extension with the Ravens. I think this is a very smart thing for the Ravens. It guarantees their run game for at least the next 4 seasons because of his first contract. This is an extension of that first contract. So when the first contract that was signed for, I believe it was 3 years, it now turns into, or it was 2 years. It was 3 years. He went through the first year. He had 2 years left. He extended for 2 years. So for the next 4 seasons, 25, 26, 27, 28. Okay. That literally seals the deal for the Ravens run game, and they can build on that run game for the future. Whether they draft a running back or pick up a running back in free agency, the Ravens have secured on how their run game is going to be. And Derrick Henry, we know, is one of the top, if not second top running back in this league. He is a top 5 running back. As of right now, you look at it and it would go Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry. 1 and 2. Not just saying that because I'm an Eagles fan. Statistics show it. Okay? Plus, Saquon just got a ring on top of it. So, Saquon, Derrick Henry, 1 and 2. So this is a great move by the Ravens. Hats off to him for making this move. But now you need to make sure your offensive line keeps him healthy by protecting him. And not only that, you want to make sure you have blocking receivers for when he runs to the outside. You got to keep him healthy. That's that. Derrick Henry isn't known to be injury prone, but I'm just saying, you just extended him through 2028. You just secured your run game and took the weight off your quarterback's shoulders, because your quarterback, Lamar Jackson, who we know runs for 1,000 yards a year, maybe more, doesn't need to run as much. Doesn't. Put it on the back of the big guy that you just extended. Simple as that. Speaking of the Eagles, though, Nick Sirianni, the head coach, he got a contract extension. It is undisclosed on his contract extension. Nobody knows the details of it except in-house. That's it. I'm happy about this. I've been a fan of Nick Sirianni since day one. I've been behind him this whole way. When the fans were saying fire him, I was like, they better not. This man has had a winning season every year, has taken the Eagles to the playoffs every year since he's been head coach. He made 2 trips to the Super Bowl. He brought 1 home. Why would you want to fire this man? Extend him. Would I like to know what the extension is? Yeah, sure, I would. But am I desperate to know it? No. I'm just happy he's our head coach for the next couple years. And I hope it's a long-term deal, too. I hope it is. But the Eagles extending Nick Sirianni. I'm sure once we find out the details of this contract, we'll talk about it. But right now, we don't need to. All we need to know is that he got extended. And that's all there is to it. So, but guys, that's all I have for the new stuff as far as contracts. And again, the unfortunate, sad passing of owner of the Colts, Jim Irsay. Again, I think I might do a special recorded session YouTube exclusive talking about Jim Irsay's life. Again, very sad news. My heart and thoughts go out to the Irsay family, the Indianapolis organization, the Colts organization, the city of Indianapolis. It's a sad, sad time right now. It is. So my heart, my thoughts go out to those who surrounded Jim Irsay as well. Friends, family, teammates, everybody. My thoughts and my heart go out to them. But guys, before we get into our next topic, because we have 3 segments for you today, before we get into, actually, no, we got 2 more news things. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks. Like I said, the training camp version of Hard Knocks is going to be the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills is the team that got picked to do the training camp version of Hard Knocks. So we will see the Buffalo Bills through training camp this summer. Am I excited for this? Yeah, I am. But again, at the same time, I wish it would have been the Cleveland Browns to see that quarterback battle. Just saying. I would have loved to see the Cleveland Browns. But they picked the Buffalo Bills. I'm sure it's going to be a good one. Josh Allen, Keon Coleman. I'm sure it's going to be a good one to watch, and I'm definitely going to be watching it. I will definitely watch the Bills. And then the in-season division got picked. Now, last year, we seen the AFC North. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the Cleveland Browns, Cincinnati Bengals, and Baltimore Ravens were the focus of the in-season Hard Knocks. This year, it is the NFC East. The Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, the Washington Commanders, the Dallas Cowboys, and the New York Giants. That is the in-season focus of Hard Knocks this year. So I'm definitely excited for that because the Eagles are part of their second ever Hard Knocks. They were part of I don't know if it was Hard Knocks. I think it was. I'm not sure. I would have to go back and look. But they were part of an in-season Hard Knocks style thing before the year after they won their first Super Bowl. So crazy enough, they were part of Hard Knocks the year after they win their first Super Bowl. And now they're part of a Hard Knocks again after they win their second Super Bowl. Crazy, isn't it? But this time the whole division's involved. Now, the New York Giants, have they ever been involved in a Hard Knocks? Yes, they were part of the off-season Hard Knocks last year. We got the debut edition of the off-season Hard Knocks, and the New York Giants were the sole focus. You remember, you see the videos fluttering around social media of the owner and the general manager talking about Saquon Barkley, and the owner saying, if Saquon goes to Philly, I'm going to lose sleep. Yeah, that was part of that Hard Knocks. The Washington Commanders, they've never been a part of Hard Knocks. The Dallas Cowboys were a part of Hard Knocks training camp a couple years back. And then the Eagles, the year after they win their first Super Bowl, they were part of Hard Knocks, and that was an in-season thing. So the only team never a part of a Hard Knocks was the Washington Commanders. Never. Not even when they were named the other team. So there we go. Hard Knocks, Buffalo Bills for training camp in the NFC East as the in-season. So, guys, we are going to take about a 30-second break. I want you guys to check this out right now. All the social medias that you can follow over for the Huddle Hub podcast. So, guys, make sure you're following the Huddle Hub Podcast over on X at the Huddle Hub Pod, also on YouTube at the Huddle Hub Pod, and TikTok at the Huddle Hub Pod. That's where you can follow us all over social media. And make sure if you're watching on the Twitch channel right now, the Huddle Hub Podcast, make sure you're hitting that follow button. We'd definitely appreciate it. The links to all the social medias are in the bio here on Twitch. So you can go ahead and click on those links. You'll definitely take you right to the social medias for you to hit that follow button. And over on the YouTube, you just hit that subscribe button. It would definitely be appreciated. Definitely would, as we're trying to build the channel here at the Huddle Hub Podcast. So, guys, we're going to get into the owners' meetings that happened this past week out in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So, the first set of meetings happened out in New York during the winter. And there were some things on the docket as far as what they were going to be talking about. They were going to talk about the overtime rules, which got switched over. Each team is now going to have a possession in overtime in season. Now, during the playoffs, and I'm going to set the stage here for you guys. I'm going to pick two teams. Let's say the Chiefs and the Bills. Okay? Let's say the Chiefs and the Bills are tied at 17 going into overtime, and the Chiefs get the ball first. Patrick Mahomes throws a touchdown to Travis Kelce. The Chiefs are now up 24-17. Now, in the regular season, if the Chiefs would score the touchdown, then the game's over. The Bills don't even get a chance. But if the Chiefs would have kicked a field goal, then the Bills would have gotten the ball and would have had an opportunity to score, whether to tie the game or win the game. But then if the Chiefs would have got the ball back on a turnover, the Chiefs win, or on downs, the Chiefs win. In overtime, in the playoffs, if the Chiefs scored a touchdown, then the Bills would automatically get the ball. Okay, now in season, if the Chiefs would score a touchdown, then the game would be over. But then going to the playoffs, the Bills would get a shot. Now in season, they took the playoff rules and they said, okay, we're going to bring this in season. So now it is guaranteed no matter what, touchdown or field goal, the other team gets an opportunity to score. I like this. I like that rule got passed back during the winter meetings. I'm glad that had happened to give an opportunity to a lot of these teams, because we see teams that go into overtime and just imagine it's your favorite team who is, let's say it's week 17, okay? And they need to win their week 17 game to stay in playoff contention to go into week 18. But they end up losing in overtime because they didn't get a chance to get the ball. Playoff dream is dead. That's it. This is going to play a factor when it comes down to the playoff race. I know it. It's going to. So I'm glad they switched that rule. The other things that were on the docket during the winter meetings was the tush push. The tush push, as we know, the Philadelphia Eagles have perfected this play. It is a 99.99% completion percentage. The Eagles have only been stopped on it, I believe, one time, and that was against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in week 2 on Monday Night Football. That's the only time the tush push was stopped. Other than that, it's always been successful. Okay? Well, the Green Bay Packers, they put the proposal in for this play to be banned. Was not decided on in the winter meetings. They said, all right, when we go to the spring meetings in May, in Minnesota, we will talk and vote on it and decide whether the tush push is banned or not. Okay? Playoff seedings as well. The Lions put in a proposal for the playoff seedings to be changed. So basically, we had the Minnesota Vikings who went 14-3, but they were the 5th seed, and they were a visiting team in the playoffs taking on the 10-7 Rams. Well, the Lions said, why should a team that had a better record than another team be the away team in the playoffs because this team won their division? It shouldn't be like that. So they said, hey, we'll take this over to the spring meetings and talk about this more. And there were other things. So let's get into the first thing that we can very quickly talk about, and that is football being in the Summer Olympics in 2028. But not contact. There's going to be no contact. It's going to be flag football. So flag football is now a part of the Olympics for 2028 out in Los Angeles. Now, how the team is going to be decided is one representative from each NFL team. So that means every NFL team will decide on one player to go to tryouts. Okay? So 32 players will go and try out. But only 10 can make the team, which means 22 guys will be sent back. Done. Did not make it. Now, the question is, and this wasn't talked about. This is something that I would like to know is, are these players that tried out and got cut, are they going to be put on a reserve list? Because what if a player gets injured? Let's say Josh Allen gets accepted to the team, but he ends up getting injured. That leaves Team USA with 9 players, and you have to have 10 on your roster. Now, will the other 22 that got rejected be on a reserve list just in case? Who knows? I would like to know that, and I think I'm going to put that question out there for people that are in a higher place than I am to get an answer on. because I'd like to know whether that's that's going to be a thing or not. But 32 players will try out, 22 will be cut, 10 will make the team. One representative from each team will go and try out. So the question lies is, what player from your favorite team would you like to go see try out for the Olympics? And are you for this? I like the idea. I like the fact that flag football, number one, is a part of the Olympics, because I'm not big on watching the Olympics. I never really was. To bring one of my top favorite sport to the Olympics, now you got me intrigued to watch the Olympics. This is the one thing that I'll probably be, not probably, this is the one thing that I will be watching during the 28 Summer Olympics. So I'm excited for it. I am. Is it something that we're going to talk about here? Yeah, it is. So I'm excited for it. And I'm excited to see the process of it as well. The only question is about that reserve list. Is there going to be one in case a player gets injured? But players are also probably going to have in a contract, a separate contract of, an injury clause or something like that. They're going to have to put something together just in case they get injured during this process. They're going to. So I'm sure we're going to learn more about this as the years go on, because, again, we got 3 years until flag football is going to be part of the Olympics. So I'm sure more stuff is going to come out as far as how the process is going to go as time goes on. Playoff seeding, the Lions put in the proposal for the playoff seeding. Like I said, the Vikings finished 14-3. They played the Rams, who won the NFC West, who were 10-7. Now, the Rams were considered the home team, but because of the wildfires out in California at the time, the game got moved to Arizona. The Arizona Cardinal organization was nice enough to say, hey, we're going to make this feel like a Rams home game. We're going to do everything we can to make this feel like a Rams home game. And man, did they not disappoint. The stadium in Arizona looked great for that home game. Okay? But that's not what the Lions are talking about. They're talking about, hey, why were the Vikings the visiting team? They finished better. Well, the Rams won their division. And the incentive is when you win your division, you get to play at least one home game in the playoffs. Well, the thing is if a team finishes better than a division winner and they play at home, then what's the point of winning your division? Now, I was listening to a show. Shout out to this show I was listening to on the NFL Network on SiriusXM yesterday, and Robert Turbin had mentioned take away division championships then and just do a seeding process. Just do it as a rank from 1 through 16 in each conference. Because division championships, do they mean something? They do for now. But if you're going to switch to playoff seedings, then why even have division champions? There's no point in it. Can you acknowledge a team for winning a division championship? Yeah, you can. But it should not factor in to the playoff seedings then. Keep that a separate thing. For example, if the Eagles win the NFC East, cool, then they win the NFC East. But if they finish 11-6, and let's say the Packers finish 13-4, but they don't win their division for some reason. And I say that because when you look at the race in the NFC North this past year, Vikings 14-3, Lions 15-2. Week 18 literally came down to a division championship and who was going to get the 1 seed. So say the Packers finish 13-4 and the Eagles finish 11-6. But the Eagles win their division, the Packers don't. The Eagles, in normal circumstances, would get a home game. Cut that out. Or just take away division championships of its own and just do a regular top 7 process. Robert Turbin, you figured it out. And I agree with you. Just get rid of the division championships all on their own. Because the only thing that gives it meaning is the fact of, yeah, you have the bragging rights of winning your division. But that's an every year thing. Not the same team wins their division every year. And you guarantee a home game in the playoffs. That's it. I agree with Robert. Just take away if you're going to change the seeding process, then just take away division championships of his own. But the Lions, they took away their proposal. They said, you know what? Let's not talk about this for now. So they backed out, and the playoff seedings are going to stay the same. Division champions are going to get at least one home game through the playoffs, and no matter how teams finish, everything is staying the same when it comes to the playoff seedings. For kickoffs, the kickoff thing has changed slightly. When the kickoff process changed last year, it was unique to a lot of people. They'd never seen it before. Well, if you watched the UFL before watching the NFL last year, then you understood the kickoff process, or the XFL, I mean. Well, last year, the only time you could do an onside kick is if you're losing in the fourth quarter. You couldn't do an onside kick at all throughout the rest of the game. Now they are back to where you can kick an onside kick whenever you want. So onside kicks are now back to happening anytime. And the players that line up across from each other to start the kickoff are going to move 1 yard closer to each other. 1 yard. Yes, I said it. 1 yard. That's what changed as far as coming to kick with the kickoffs. So, the tush push, the last thing on the docket to talk about. This is the last thing to talk about that I had written down. The tush push is not banned. Okay. Now going into this process, the Packers put in the proposal for the tush push to get banned. They needed 24 teams to vote yes on the ban. And they got 22 teams. So the tush push won in favor 22-10. 22 teams said, let's ban it. And 10 teams said, you know what? We're not worried about it. Let's not ban it. Well, the Eagles, as we know, is the team that has perfected the tush push, right? When you look at the Eagles' schedule, and then you look at the teams that voted for the tush push to stay, only one team out of these 10 play the Eagles this year. These are the teams that voted for the tush push to stay. The Eagles, obviously, they proposed it, okay? So that leaves 9 other teams to vote to keep it. The Ravens, the Browns, both from the AFC North. Okay? And I want to put this together here. So we got the Ravens and Browns from the AFC North. We got the Jaguars and Titans from the AFC South. Give me 1 second here because I'm putting this together here. The Dolphins, Patriots, and Jets from the AFC East. The Saints from the NFC South. And the Lions from the NFC North. So the Ravens and Browns from the AFC North, the Jaguars, Titans from the AFC South, the Dolphins, Patriots, Jets from the AFC East, the Saints from the NFC South, and the Lions from the NFC North have all voted for the tush push to stay. The only team that plays the Eagles this year on that list is the Lions. And that's on Sunday Night Football in Week 11 this year. So the other 8 teams don't play the Eagles this year. So they're not worried about it. Now, the decision of banning the tush push is already on the docket for the meetings in 2026. So there is a chance that the tush push in 2026 could get banned. What they are going to do is they're going to look at the statistics from 2025, the success rate from other teams, injuries, all that stuff. They're going to look at those statistics and then vote about it again in 2026. But for right now, in 2025, the tush push is here to stay. And I'm sure other teams are going to attempt this play. I'm sure of it. Just saying. But that's all the stuff that came from the owners' meetings out in Minneapolis, Minnesota. That is it. Everything that is set in stone and decided on and everything is done. They can't change anything else. Meetings are adjourned. Now, one more thing as far as the tush push, because I said I had a video for you guys. Ben Johnson, the head coach of the Bears. This is courtesy of CBS Sports. Well, he did an interview about the tush push, and this is what he had to say.
Does it become an explosive play ever? Have you ever seen a tush push become an explosive play?
Does it become a first down or a touchdown?
Yeah, I like explosive play. I like big plays. So I'm not a big tush push guy myself. Man, does it become an explosive play ever? Have you ever?
So he's not a fan of the tush push. He's not. Why? Because it's not an explosive play. That's what I'm getting from it. Because it's not an explosive. One more time. Ben Johnson.
Does it become an explosive play ever? Have you ever seen a tush push become an explosive play?
Does it become a first down or a touchdown?
Yeah, I like explosive play. I like big plays. So I'm not a big tush push guy myself. Man.
So what I'm getting from that is the tush push isn't an explosive play. It gets a first down or a touchdown. Okay? So Ben Johnson, what I'm getting from it is Ben Johnson is a guy that likes either a running back like what Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry and a lot of these great running backs can do and break 60-yard runs, or the quarterback bombing the ball downfield for a big touchdown, 65-yard, 75-yard touchdown pass. That's what he likes. So is this Ben Johnson basically saying, when you watch a Bears game this year, Caleb Williams is going to be tossing that football downfield a lot? This is almost telling me the Bears are looking to make explosive plays this year. Now, Ben Johnson, he's a very smart coach. The Lions' offense, as we know, is a really good offense. And Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Lions. Okay, he's part of the huge success that the Lions have had in the past couple of years. Now being the head coach out in Chicago, he's hoping to change that franchise. He's hoping to turn this franchise around. But to go into a press conference and say, I'm not a fan of tush push because it's not an explosive play. I don't know. This is kind of telling me that the Bears are planning on making explosive plays this year. That's just what I'm getting from it. I could be wrong. I could be. And if I am, okay, I'm cool with that. But I'm just saying. You kind of just sat there and said, all right, yeah, I'm a fan of explosive plays. And that's that. So, but again, that's all I got for you guys for the news. The owners' meetings that happened then, and everything's gonna stay. It's done. Nothing else can get changed. Everything is set in stone and ready to go for 2025 to kick off and get underway. With that being said, guys, we're going to take 30 seconds break before we get into the final segment of the day, and that is the schedule release that came out last week. So let's take 30 seconds. So again, if you guys don't mind heading over to X, YouTube, and TikTok right now and searching up the Huddle Hub Pod, making sure you're hitting that follow button over on YouTube, hitting that subscribe button. It would definitely be appreciated. If you're just stopping in and checking out the episode today and you missed anything, I will have the full episode of this episode posted for you guys by at least Tuesday. So you'll be able to check out the replay of this show and the replay of all the other shows here on the Huddle Hub Podcast. We're going to also have some special content planned out and ready to post for you guys in the coming weeks. I have some really cool stuff that I'm putting together for you guys to check out. So be ready for it. Go follow and subscribe to the YouTube channel right now for that special content. I will post stuff on my social media and the Huddle Hub Podcast social media on where you can, about the content and what I'm going to be posting, what you guys are going to be able to see, everything like that. So the Huddle Hub Podcast is slowly building, but surely building. And we are very excited for the continuation of 2025 and the future of the Huddle Hub Podcast here and going into the 2025 season. But I have some huge plans as far as special content for you guys and maybe some live stream stuff coming other than just the show here every Sunday morning. Yeah, got some stuff planned for you guys. It's been going on up here. So I'm excited for it and ready for it. If you guys, like I said, you can follow the Huddle Hub Podcast on social media and check out those announcements. And if you want to check out my social medias, Instagram, X, TikTok, Snapchat, and Twitch, Metal Mike 714 is where you can find me personally. TikTok, I do some Fortnite streaming. Instagram, I do some posting on Instagram. Instagram is, gotten to where it's at today. Don't do too much posting, but I do posting on Instagram. But X, I do a lot of posting, and Twitch is where you would, I would stream gaming as well. But lately, I've been able to stream it on TikTok, so I've been exclusively on TikTok streaming gaming. So that's where you'll see a lot of my gaming stuff. But let's get into the final segment of the day, guys, and that is the schedule release for the 2025 NFL season. Now, we're not going to run down the schedule for all 32 teams. That's not what we're doing here. We are going to talk about the key focuses of the 2025 schedule, some of the special stuff that's happening in the 2025 season, the big games that are going to be happening throughout the year. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to get into is we all know that Fox is one of the biggest, along with CBS. Fox and CBS are the two biggest stations when it comes to football. You watch Fox and CBS on a Sunday during the NFL season, all you're getting is football all day. You get two games. Okay. You get one at 1 p.m. You get one at 4:25 p.m. If you're on the West Coast, you get one at 10 a.m. and you get one at 1 p.m. You get middle of the country where an hour behind the East Coast or 2 hours behind the East Coast. You know what I'm talking about, guys. Your local time frame of football games, you get at least two. Right? Well, Fox put together an 11 best games in 2025 coming to Fox. Okay? So let's talk about them. At number 11, in week 13 at 4:05 p.m., the Vikings are going to head out to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Now, a lot of people are thinking, how is this a big game? Well, because Sam Darnold had success in Minnesota last year, and now he's out in Seattle. Okay? So it's almost like a revenge factor game, if you want to call it. The ex-quarterback from the Vikings that took the Vikings 14-3 into the playoffs last year, now with his new team, taking on his old team, and J.J. McCarthy, the star rookie quarterback that was supposed to start, that Sam Darnold started over because of an injury, is now going to play. So we're getting Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy going head-to-head in week 13 at 4:05 p.m. On Fox. At number 10, okay? Now, these two teams are going to kick off the 2025 season on Thursday Night Football. And at number 10, in week 12, at 4:25 p.m., they're going to take it to Dallas. So we're getting the Eagles and the Cowboys in Philadelphia on Thursday Night Football to kick off the NFL season. And in week 12, at 4:25 p.m., we're getting the Eagles and Cowboys out in Dallas. So that's the 10th game on the list. At number 9, the Lions at the Bengals in week 5 at 4:25 p.m. Some people would call this a Super Bowl preview. Okay. Could it be? Yes. It all depends if these teams did what they needed to do to get to where they need to be to have that success. So it's pretty much a Super Bowl preview type of game. Okay. At number 7, okay, now you're thinking, what about number 8, Mike? Well, because we had 2 games that are tied for 7th. The first one is the Eagles at the Commanders in week 16. Time is yet to be determined. Why? Because this game could determine the NFC East. These are the 2 teams that are supposed to battle it out for the East. So why not wait to put a time frame on it? Right? Because, hey, for all we know, this game could get moved to Sunday Night Football after being scheduled for 1 o'clock because it's for the NFC East. It could be. So the Week 16 matchup in Washington for the Eagles and the Commanders is at number 7, tied with the Bears and the Packers in Week 16. Again, the NFC North can be on the line right there between the Bears and the Packers. Who knows? So that's a to-be-determined time frame for that game. At number 6, the Commanders and Cowboys in Week 7 at 4:25 p.m. It's a big game. Why? Because, it could determine who could lead the NFC East at that time in Week 6. The thing is a lot of people nowadays, they literally take leadership of their division in Week 1. The Eagles can win their game. Okay, and they play the Cowboys. Cowboys lose, Eagles win. Eagles are 1-0, Cowboys 0-1. The Commanders can lose their game, the Giants can lose their game, and the Eagles are in first place in the NFC East. People literally take that as week 1, we are in the lead of the East. It happens. You talk to hardcore football fans like myself, and we take it literal. We do, from week 1. So that is why week 7's matchup between the Commanders and Cowboys is big. At number 5, the Eagles at the Bills in week 17 at 4:25 p.m. Another possible Super Bowl matchup preview. Late in the season, afternoon game. That's what this is deemed to be, and this is why it's on this list of 11 best games on Fox in 2025. At number 4, the Rams at the Ravens in week 6 at 1 p.m. Another possible Super Bowl matchup. At number 3, the Bears at the Lions in week 2 at 1 o'clock. NFC North matchup. Big matchup. Even in week 2. Because this week 2 game could be the factor of who wins the NFC North. It could. At number 2, the Bengals at the Bills in week 14 at 4:25 p.m. This could be a determination of home field advantage. The Bengals at that time could be 12-1. The Bills could be 12-1. Whoever wins this game takes over sole possession of first place in the conference and could get home field advantage through the playoffs. That's what this game is. It has conference playoff scenario implications to it, and that's why it's a big game on Fox. At number 1, the week 2 matchup at 4:25 p.m. America's game of the week. The Eagles at the Chiefs, the Super Bowl 59 rematch. And again, a possible Super Bowl 60 preview. Those are the 11 best games that Fox has on their list. So there you go. But I'll say this. As we look at this list, a couple of the games I'm kind of like intrigued in, and some of the games I'm kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to watch this. The Eagles and Chiefs, definitely going to watch. The Bengals and Bills, I'm definitely going to watch. The Bears and Lions, maybe. I don't know. That's a maybe. The Rams and Ravens, that's a maybe. The Eagles and Bills, definite. Commanders and Cowboys, maybe. Maybe. Bears and Packers, I'll watch it. I'll watch the Bears and the Packers in week 16. The Eagles and Commanders, definite. The Lions and Bengals, that's a maybe. The Eagles, Cowboys, that's a definite. The Vikings and Seahawks, I'm not too intrigued in. Not at all. Because I have a feeling these two teams aren't going to be as good as people think they're going to be. And you're probably thinking, Mike, how do you think they're going to do? Well, next week you'll find out. Because I'm going to be doing the 2.0 version of predictions. Now you're thinking, Mike, how are you going to do that? John's not here right now. John's on a leave right now. Well, John sent me his 2.0 predictions. He did. So I'm going to also announce his. He gave me his playoffs, his full season standings, his playoffs, and his Super Bowl champion. Okay? And as of today, I'm going to start working on mine, and I will have mine ready for next week. So we are going to be doing the 2.0 prediction show next week, right here on the Huddle Up Podcast. You make sure you hit that follow button so you don't miss it. Okay? The international games that are going to be happening this year, we have 7 of them. Okay? Now, the NFL is planning on expanding to having at least 9 by next year. And then by 2027, they are possibly looking into having an international game all 18 weeks. So the NFL is really looking big into going international. And there was even talk, and I could be wrong on this. I may have just heard it wrong. So don't quote me on this. But is there a possibility of us getting some expansion teams and getting an international division? Some new teams, maybe? Who knows? Football's already a year-round thing. So let's expand. Maybe. There's even rumors and talks about the UFL possibly becoming the, farm system for the NFL. So who knows? And the UFL just announced that they plan on doing some expansion stuff as well. A lot of news coming out as far as the UFL. They're talking about expansions, relocations, and a lot of other things. The league recently filed four new trademarks for Oakland, Philadelphia, Tampa Bay, and New Jersey to bring back UFL and XFL teams. So like the Philadelphia Stars. Okay? And if the 4 new teams are added to the UFL in 2026, the likelihood is that the Roughnecks and Showboats will be relocated from Houston and Memphis. So there you go. And if they're relocated into a system to where they could be a farm team for an NFL team, But also, Tom Brady is interested in purchasing a UFL team. He already has part ownership of the Las Vegas Raiders. Now he's looking into ownership of a UFL team. So things are changing big in the NFL. So for them to go fully international, 1 game a week, all 18 weeks, would not surprise me. But the 7 games that we are getting this season, number 1 on the list is the Chiefs and Chargers on September 5th out in Sao Paulo, Brazil. That is the in week 1. Okay. The Vikings and Steelers on September 28th out in Dublin, Ireland. The Vikings and the Browns play each other in London, England on October 5th. The Broncos and Jets. So the Chiefs and Chargers out in Sao Paulo, Brazil on September 5th. The Vikings play the Steelers in Dublin, Ireland on September 28th. And then on October 5th, the Vikings head to London to take on the Browns. The Broncos and Jets will also play in London, England on October 19th or October 12th. And then the Rams and Jaguars play in London, England on October 19th. The Falcons and the Colts play each other in Berlin on November 9th. And the Commanders and Dolphins play each other in Madrid on November 16th. So those are the international games that are happening this season. Again, it would not surprise me if by next year we have 18 regular season international games. Would not. The last thing on the list of big games happening in the schedule this year are the holiday games. Okay, we have 7 holiday games this year. Number 1 on the list is the Packers and the Lions at 1:00 on Thanksgiving Day on Fox. And then at 4:30 p.m. on CBS, the Chiefs and the Cowboys in Dallas. And then at 8:15 p.m. on NBC and Peacock are the Bengals at the Ravens. So the Packers visit the Lions in Detroit at 1:00 on Fox. The Chiefs head out to Dallas to take on the Cowboys on CBS at 4:30 p.m. And the Bengals head out to Baltimore to take on the Ravens at 8:15 p.m. on NBC and Peacock on Thanksgiving Day. And then the next day on Black Friday, the Chicago Bears head out to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles at 3:00 on Black Friday. And that is an Amazon Prime exclusive game. And then for Christmas Day, the Cowboys head out to Washington to take on the Commanders at 1:00, and that game's going to be on Netflix. And then following that game, the Lions head out to Minnesota to take on the Vikings at 4:30 p.m. on Netflix. And the Broncos head out to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs at 8:15 p.m. on Amazon Prime. So that's your list of games for the holidays. When you look at this, Packers and Lions on Thanksgiving Day, division game. Bengals Ravens on Thanksgiving Day, division game. On Christmas Day, Cowboys Commanders, division game. Lions Vikings, division game. Broncos Chiefs, division game. 5 out of the 7 holiday games, division games. The only 2 that are not is the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving and the Bears and the Eagles on Black Friday. All the other ones, division games. Talk about getting people to watch football on the holidays. By making it division games, games that matter, games that mean something. Because we know the Cowboys and Lions are going to play on Thanksgiving. That's a given, whether they play each other or play against other teams. The Chiefs kind of became the Christmas Day team because they've played every day on Christmas Day since the Christmas Day stuff has started. I know it's been a short period of time, but still. So, I mean, why not? Make it division games, make it interesting. People are going to be home anyways, and if not, they're at family. Make sure they're watching football, no matter where they're at. Because these games matter. Bottom line. Now, with the schedule release coming out comes playoff predictions, right? Well, Henry McKenna, he made a way too early playoff prediction. Okay? And this is by way, I believe, Fox. I believe that's who Henry McKenna is with. I'm going to double check that. I'll do my facts on that. Okay. I'm not getting what I wanted here. So, but anyways, I believe a writer, Henry McKenna, he made a way too early playoff prediction thing, and this was under I believe it was under the Fox thing of what I found it at. But anyways, okay, this is his way too early playoff predictions, and this one was the more notable one. That's why I pulled this one, okay? For the AFC, his number 1 seed is the Ravens, okay? The number 2 seed is the Bills. Broncos are the 3 seed. Colts are the 4 seed. Chargers are the 5 seed. Chiefs are the 6 seed. Bengals are the 7 seed. So we would get the Bills playing the Bengals, the Broncos playing the Chiefs, and the Colts playing the Chargers in the wildcard round with the Ravens having the bye week. He has the Ravens winning the AFC North, the Bills winning the AFC East, the Broncos winning the West, the Colts winning the South. Okay? Now, as far as the Ravens winning the AFC North, I can agree with it. It all depends on how the Bengals do. Okay? It does. It all depends on the Bengals. But I can agree with the Ravens winning the North. I can. The Bills winning the East, I can agree with that. The Broncos winning the West, I mean, it's going to all depend on how the Chiefs do. But could I see it? I'll put that as a yes. But the Colts winning the South? No, I'm sorry. I don't see it. Now he has the Chargers as the 5th seed. That I can agree with. The Chiefs being the 6th seed, I can kind of agree with it. The Bengals being the 7th seed, I can agree with it depending on how they do. Okay. Now let's go over to the NFC side. The Commanders he has as the number 1 seed. I'll say that one more time. He has the Commanders as the number 1 seed, winning the NFC East. Could I agree with it? Kinda. I'm still kind of skeptical on the Commanders because of the whole 1-year deal thing, signing new players, changing things up. Like, yeah, you did great last year, but you don't have all the pieces of that puzzle, or some of them are gone. You had to bring in new pieces of the puzzle, aka players. So it's going to all depend on how they do. But you know what? I'll give the Commanders the benefit of the doubt. Could you see them winning the NFC East? It all depends on how the Eagles do. So I'll mark it as a yes. Okay, I'll give it to them for this time. The Rams at number 2 at the 2 seed winning the NFC West. I could see it. The Lions, the 3rd seed, winning the NFC North. I can see it. They're going to take a step back, but I could see it. And then at the 4 seed, the Panthers winning the NFC South. I'm sorry. I think the Panthers are going to do better than they did last year, but I do not see them winning the NFC South. He has the Eagles at the 5th seed, the Vikings as the 6th seed, the Cowboys as the 7th seed. I don't see the Vikings nor the Cowboys making the playoffs this year. So the Commanders, Rams, Lions, Eagles as playoff teams, yes. The Panthers, Vikings, Cowboys, no. And that's that. That's that. Last thing we got to talk about, though, with the schedule release is how far teams are going to be traveling. And I'm going to bring up a little bit of a diagram here. Okay? As you see, I want to make sure that, okay. Yeah, no. We got to stop sharing that. Wrong screen to be sharing. This is the one I want to share with you guys. Here we go. So these are the miles that are being traveled through the 2025 NFL season. And the Chargers are going to be traveling the most with 37,086 miles traveled. And the Bengals are going to be traveling the least at 8,753 miles traveled. This is the official miles being traveled by each team this season coming up. 37,086 by the Los Angeles Chargers is crazy. And they also had the website that provided this diagram also had a video diagram on how the traveling is happening. Okay? So, with that being said, we're going to look at the Chargers' schedule when it comes to the 2025 NFL season. All right? So, in week 1, they are going to be traveling to Sao Paulo, Brazil to take on the Chiefs. So that's not even in Kansas City nor in Los Angeles. That's in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Then they got to travel back to Vegas to take on the Raiders. Then back to Los Angeles to take on the Broncos in week 3. Then they got to travel out east to take on the Giants, only to travel back to Los Angeles to take on the Commanders. Then they got to travel back east to take on the Dolphins, travel back west at home to take on the Colts. They stay home to take on the Vikings. They got to travel out to Tennessee to take on the Titans, back home against the Steelers, then back east to take on the Jaguars, back home to take on the Raiders and Eagles, then out to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Then they got to play Dallas in Dallas. Then they head back home to take on the Texans, and then to Denver to take on the Broncos. That is a lot of traveling. A lot of traveling for the Chargers. Now, the Broncos are the least traveled team, or the Bengals are the least traveled team. And we're going to look at their schedule. Okay? When we look at the Bengals in 2025, okay, they play the Browns in week 1. That's in Ohio. Same state, not far. But then they go back to Cincinnati from Cleveland to take on the Jaguars. Then they head up to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Then they head out west to take on the Broncos. Come back home to take on the Lions. Then they head out to Green Bay to take on the Packers. They head back home to take on Pittsburgh. Stay home to take on the Jets and the Bears. And then they head about an hour and a half, 2 hours east to take on the Steelers. Then they head back home to take on the Patriots. Then they head out to Baltimore to take on the Ravens, head up to Buffalo to take on the Bills, head back home to take on the Ravens, down south to take on the Dolphins, come back up north to take on the Cardinals at home, and then they stay home to take on the Browns to close things out. That's the Bengals traveling. That's not a lot of traveling for the Bengals. I'm surprised that's even 8,000 miles. But it is. But these are the miles traveled by each NFL team. If you guys want to, I'll keep this up for a second. If you guys want to screenshot that and check that out for yourselves, it's crazy. That's crazy. And the source that I got this from actually had like I said, a video, and you can see the website down below there. I'm not going to say it, but you could see it. And I'll do this for you guys. Okay. You could see it at the bottom of the screen there. Yeah. That's the website that gave me that. So, or provided this diagram. You could check out their video version of how teams are going to be traveling in 2025. But that's all I got for you guys for today. That's it. Hour and a half long. I had a feeling today was going to be a long one. I did. I had a feeling today was going to be a long one, but I appreciate those who stopped by and joined here. Al, thank you for joining us in the chat today. Appreciate it. Everybody who stayed and watched for the live, I appreciate you. If you're checking out the replay, definitely appreciate you. One more time, if you guys can head over to all of our social medias, the Huddle Hub Podcast on X, TikTok, and YouTube at the Huddle Hub Pod. All the links are below here on the Twitch channel. You can just click on it. It will take you right to it. Make sure you're hitting that follow button. Make sure you're hitting the subscribe over on YouTube. Would definitely appreciate that. You can check out past episodes and special content that's going to be coming to the YouTube channel, things I have planned for you guys moving forward. Super excited about all that. Next week, we have on the docket Predictions 2.0. I have John's. I'm going to have mine together. So get ready, guys. A lot of stuff planned for the future here for the Huddle Hub Podcast. And if you want to follow me on social media, Instagram, X, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitch, Metal Mike 714 is where you can find me. Definitely appreciate you guys stopping out again. Thank you for being here. As I always say, be good to each other, be kind to each other, take care of each other, be patient with each other. Remember, the world is not moving as fast as you think. Until next Sunday, guys, Prediction 2.0 show next week. Until then, guys, thank you. Have a great one. Deuces. Oh, and happy Memorial Day.